I just wanted to share with you a little bit about a different type of purpose. Now, there's something that I love Chris Lambert, and what he had to say is that he was proud to talk about his faith. And if this, again, is going to offend you, Love for a Child is a faith-based charity right here in Metro Detroit that helps abused, abandoned, and neglected foster care children. So since 2011, we've been helping kids who have severe trauma in their life, that they've grown up in situations that were beyond their control. They were forced to give up a childhood at a young age and live house to house, not knowing where they'll be week from week, who their next parents are going to be for the next season of their life, going from an abusive situation to an emotional situation, and they're expected just to be normal children. Now, a lot of us think in this situation, oh, isn't it convenient that he's speaking in a summit in Detroit? Detroit naturally gets the representation that is underprivileged, but we're fighting to get rid of that. But let me tell you right now, we serve everything from Wayne County all the way to Port Huron and every city in between. Michigan is the third worst state in the entire country for the development of foster care children. Our system is broken and the state just can't figure out how to overcome it. And I just want to share with you a story today of purpose. See, 10 years ago, I was at the age 23, and I had just moved back from the west side of the state, took a marketing job in Troy, and I would show up every single morning to a gray cubicle. I would turn on my speakers, I would make sure I got my coffee, talk about the Tigers game with about 10 people, because I wanted to avoid actually having to go to work. All of a sudden, it would be 9:30, 10 a.m., and I would finally sit down at my desk and go, oh my gosh, and watch the clock spin and said, there's got to be more to life than sitting at this desk, not fulfilling a goal or fulfilling a dream in my life. And that summer, I would go to a summer camp for these very children. A one-week experience where kids in foster care who have absolutely nothing would show up to a beautiful campground in North Oakland County to live the life of a kid in royalty for the week, where 75 trained counselors would train all year long so that these group of children would know at the end of the week that they are more than what they've been called to do, that they're not just a statistic. See, in Michigan, the death rate of a foster care child is age 25. They age out at 18, and in the next 7 years, 6 out of 10 foster kids will be dead because of homelessness, drug abuse, or subjected to prostitution. So Love for a Child stepped in and said, we're going to create a program, and we're going to find the city's best mentors and counselors from all over who are going to learn and train for 11 months out of the year to go to this camp and make an introduction to these kids so that these children find safety and a person that has compassion to care for, sometimes for the very first time. Let me share a story with you that just shocked my world. About a year ago, I got a phone call from an agency in Metro Detroit. And they said, hey, Joe, we heard that you have this program that helps foster care kids. We need to share a story with you. I said, okay. They said, in the city of Clinton Township, there's a little 11-year-old girl that needs your help. I said, what's her story? They said, see, when she was 9 years old, she didn't show up for her first day of school. Nobody blinked an eye. Nobody flipped through the paperwork to find her. Nobody called the police. They just assumed because of her track record, she had moved out of the school district and into another. That was her history, no big deal. We've heard this a million times. Now, if you guys know Clinton Township, it's not really known for being poverty-stricken. It's a very suburban area, business-friendly. And at 19 Mile Road in Garfield, if you can picture that crossroad, a whole year would go by. That girl would now be 10 years old. She would not show up for school on the second first day a year later. And the principal finally said, I should make a call. He called the family, and the family in Livonia said, I'm really sorry. We don't even have affiliation with that little girl anymore. The birth mother is long gone, and the father, he has a lot of challenges in his life, and we haven't spoken to them in 4 years. So police go to the house. They knock on the door, and they report back. I saw the paperwork. The grass was 3 feet tall. The windows were broken in, and they said, there's not a chance that anybody lives in this home. It's gross. It's beaten. It's been left abandoned for at least 2 years. And they walked away. And a week later, a neighbor was cutting the grass. And they heard these faint screams coming from the home. Called the police. Police showed up again. Hey, we've already been here once. Knock on the door. The screams were loud. They pull their guns out. They kick the door down. They run into this disgusting home in the middle of a suburb to find a little girl who for the last 18 and a half months was chained by both ankles to a pole in the basement, fed Cheez-Its, bread, and milk for 18 months and never released. Father, subject to a drug addiction, would sell that little girl to over 75 different men who would walk into that back door of that home and severely rip the childhood out from this little girl's heart. And I get the phone call, Joe, do you have room for this girl? And I said, if I don't have room, I'll make room. And Love for a Child and our 75 trained counselors stepped in. And let me assure you this, there is no algorithm, there is no 3-ring binder that fixes that little girl's situation. But 75 people who have the love of Jesus in their heart and compassion to give this girl authentic love like she's never seen before, said, we'll step in and we'll be the new family. And that little girl sees our counselors 3 times every single month, picked up from school, taken to get her nails done, taken to her counseling. And she showed up to our camp this past August. And if I could show you a picture, which I can, I know you guys are saying, I wish I could see this girl. I have a little picture of her on my desk at work, of her holding 2 snow cones. Her lips are blue and purple from eating 2 different flavors, and smile from ear to ear. She's never been given the chance to be a kid. So Love for a Child stepped in and said, our motto is, we want kids to be kids for the first time. And when they meet our team, they truly see the face of Christ for the very first time. People that will love authentically and wholeheartedly with all their heart has to give. And there is no math problem, there is no solution that we know, but besides to love the same way that God loves us. And so what we do every single year is we take 125 kids into our program. And they get served every single month. We give them resources. If they need a new bed, we're there. If they need food, we're there. If they need benevolence, we're there. And then in the middle of the night, when that little child has to pack a bag and go from St. Clair Shores to Grand Blanc and cross all the cities in between, and their life is constantly changing, we are the only constant in their life that stays the same, the traveling family of foster care counselors who make sure that we love on that child.